But yeah, looks like it's working. This is a challenge I came up with kind of a while ago and didn't really do anything on it, and it's kind of changed over time, and now I feel that I'm ready to actually do it because you know, if I don't do it at some point, since it's something that's going to take a whole year to do, if I don't do it at some point, I'm never going to do it. And I kind of know how this whole year's going to go. So, might as well do it while I know kind of how things are going to go, instead of waiting for a year and then things don't end up working out. But yeah, this is basically just a challenge to see how many games can I beat in a single year. Which, obviously, I don't want to wait till January 1st, or it's never going to happen, because I'm never going to feel like it on just any particular January 1st. So, I'll just start it whenever I want. So, today is what, June 3rd? So, this goes from June 3rd this year to June 3rd next year. I decided to start with Punch-Out! Because Punch-Out! Week, because I know this game pretty well. This is going to be a very quick one to beat. I'm going to try and do the shorter games first. I've got a lot of ideas on what games... Okay. I have to move my can out of the way of the sensor bar. But I've got a lot of ideas on what games could be short and easy to do. Because obviously you don't want to... The game's too hard that I can't beat it. Obviously I'm not going to beat it quickly. And in some cases, Punch-Out!, had I not already been familiar with Punch-Out!, this definitely would be a hard game that I wouldn't do. And in fact, I'm probably not going to do NES Punch-Out!. I don't know NES Punch-Out! Well enough to know that I could beat that quickly enough. I don't know that I could beat that quickly enough, or know the fights well enough to do it quickly. That might take me a while. Furthest I ever got in NES Punch-Out! Was Mr. Sandman. I never got past Mr. Sandman. There's only 2 fights after Mr. Sandman, right? It's just Super Macho Man and then Mike Tyson, or is there another bald bull after Mr. Sandman? I don't know. Again, I'm not super familiar with NES Punch-Out!, but I'm really familiar with Punch-Out! Wii. I've beaten the game just many, many times, and I've done all the challenges. I've beaten everyone on champion mode, including Donkey Kong. So yeah, I know this game pretty well. I mean, in fact, it's been what? Ah, shoot. Oh, I did not mean to do that, but I forgot to start the timer. Hello, timer? Did I actually put numlock on? No? Why is live split not coming on? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been only like 5 minutes and already on Disco Kid. Which actually, I'm not... actually not the greatest at Disco Kid. That move he does to the side, I've never been great at parrying and getting a star off of. Let's see. Alright. Yeah, definitely this game is going to be a very short one. I can do in one day, which is probably going to be the starting goal. Start with games that I can do in just one day, and see if we ever have to get to the point where games will take multiple days to do. I think my initial goal is going to be... Oh. I could have done that a little faster had I just used the 2-star punch instead of getting the 3-star, but whatever. But, yeah, I definitely can do this game in one day, which is why I'm starting with this one. And plus, I just always like an excuse to play Punch-Out Wii again. This is a top 5 game for me, so definitely enjoy playing it. And I can't do... I probably won't do a lot of my top 5 because some of them are really long. I don't know that I could do Yakuza 0 in a decent time. Definitely if I did Final Fantasy 12, that would have to be the Zodiac Age version and not the original version, because Zodiac Age has the fast forward and the original was a much slower paced game. So I don't know about those, but definitely I can do this game. And I can probably do Metal Gear Solid 2 in one day as well. So... And as far as other games go that should be short, I mean, there's a whole bunch of, like, games that I can do in, like, under an hour. Kirby's Dream Land only takes, like, 20 minutes. Super Mario Land takes, like, 15. Definitely, any Puyo Puyo game shouldn't be too bad. I think I'm not, like, anywhere near actually good at Puyo Puyo, but I'm decent enough at it to where I could beat every fight in a Puyo Puyo game. Puyo Pop on Game Boy would be a little awkward, but I probably could do that. There's just a bit more than just beating every level in the original Puyo and Puyo Pop on Game Boy Advance than in, say, like, Mean Bean Machine or something. And then, yeah, any of the, like, older Mario games that have warps where you can beat the game quicker would obviously be short. Mario Advance 1, I could definitely do. And Super Mario World wouldn't be long at all. Kirby's Dream Land 2, I think a lot of Kirby games will end up being pretty easy to do. Dreamland 2 isn't that long. Superstar shouldn't be that long. Nightmare in Dreamland's not long. And obviously just a lot of games where if you don't know the solutions to the game, they can be pretty long. But if you do know the solutions, then they'll be pretty short. So like Portal 1 should be no problem. I might be able to do Monkey Island 2. I don't know about the first Monkey Island. And definitely not Monkey Island 3. I don't know Monkey Island 3 well enough to do Monkey Island 1. Or Monkey Island 3, rather. Oh, was that an instant knockdown if I used the star on him? Oh well. I mean, I knocked him down and have an extra star now. I guess it doesn't matter. Well, let's see. What other games are short enough? Like a Metroidvania that I'm familiar with would probably be pretty short. I think the only one I'm familiar enough with to like know that I could just have every solution already done, just be able to quickly get through it, would be Castlevania Area of Sorrow. But I don't think Metroid Zero Mission would be that long either. Crash Bandicoot games also probably wouldn't take too long. I can definitely do Wrath of Cortex. I can definitely do Crash 3. If I can get a working copy, Twinsanity would definitely be short. Huge Adventure on Game Boy Advance would be short. Entrance on Game Boy Advance probably short. Nitro Kart would be very short. Probably do Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Those games are all probably pretty short. Then there are games that I don't... Like, I know if I do some speedrun stuff, wouldn't take too long, but I'm probably going to try not to do much speedrun stuff, so I don't know how long they would take. Like, Rayman 3 is one that I don't... might actually be kind of long without speedrun stuff, but I don't know. If I know all the solutions and how to beat every level, it's probably not going to take too long. Yeah, Bear Hug is actually another fight I'm not, like, super great at, which could be a problem in title defense. Not that I'd lose, I don't think, unless if I play just, like, super risky, but it's just not what I'm going to be able to do as quickly as possible. But always having a 3-star for the final knockdown will be pretty good. It's really the, like, downward punch that I don't really know how to do. Or I'm not very consistent at countering that, but from the right, I can do that pretty well. But it's really the part of this challenge is going to be interesting to me is when what happens when we get to the games, past the games I'm familiar with. Then what other games can I do? I'm assuming like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games all should be pretty short. And there's still some things I'm not sure about how I want to consider the rules for this, but if you consider, you know, a common thing is just reach the credits of a game would count as beating it. I'm not going to count that in every circumstance because sometimes games have multiple credits, but they don't, like, some of the credits aren't necessarily at the end of the game, which this is a game that's an example of that. Because you get the credits after Contender Mode, but really the end of the game is after Max Last Stand, where you get the other set of credits. And then Kirby, I don't know about original Superstar, but Superstar Ultra, you get credits after pretty much every not sub game, but after each little section, you get credits, but I don't think anyone would count beating Spring Breeze as beating Superstar Ultra. But if you were to count that for a fighting game, like, you get the credits after beating Classic Mode with any character in Smash Bros. So if that would count, just beating one as one character, then Smash Bros. Would be a very short game to do. But that also is depending on how far you would count that. Because Brawl wouldn't... I don't think you would consider beating Brawl as beating Classic Mode. You would count that as beating Subspace Emissary. So, in what context do these count? Right. Like, would Classic count for Smash N64? But then, would Adventure Mode count for Melee? I've never played Melee, so... Well, I've played a tiny bit of Melee, but I've never played Adventure Mode. I don't know what Adventure Mode's really like. And then it would be Subspace Emissary. Dang it, I'm so bad at that. But Subspace Emissary would count for Brawl, I would think. And then probably just Classic Mode for Smash 4. And then you'd probably have to do World of Light for Ultimate. But then even other fighting games still have it to where you get the credits and you even get an... Oh, I didn't think that was going to be a knockout. I guess it's just Contender Mode. Title Defense, I don't think that's a knockout. But even other fighting games have, like, where when you beat the classic arcade mode, you get an ending and credits. So, like, I know Tatsunoko vs. Capcom does that. Probably a lot of the Street Fighter games do. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever played a Street Fighter game. Except Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Now, that'd be a quick game to do. And that'd be a fun one, too. But... So if that counts, if fighting games are probably going to be pretty good to do, unless if I'm just terrible at fighting games, which I probably am. The only fighting game I really ever played was Smash Bros. And just, like, a bit of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. And, like, maybe one round of Mortal Kombat. What am I doing? I actually don't know how the instant knockout works for Don Flamenco. I've never actually... I, like, kind of know it has something to do with getting him in the stun lock and then using the Star Punch. I don't know if it needs to be 3-star. I don't know how many times you have to hit him. I've never actually known specifically how to do it. I just know I've done it before, and I never bothered to actually look up how to do it. But that was it, so it's something like that. But then another type of game that I think is going to be somewhat easy as well, that could just have a lot of short games in it, would be like following block puzzles. Right. As long as, again, I'm good enough at them to be able to actually beat them comfortably and then not take forever. And as long as, you know, game overs don't restart the whole game or anything. And like Puyo Puyo, I think I'm decent enough at to where I can beat a Puyo Puyo game. And that's just a lot of variety right there. Because we could do Puyo Pop. I could do Kirby's Avalanche. I could do Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I've got original Puyo Puyo on Super Famicom. I could do that. And then you can even get into other falling block puzzles that I'm decent enough at that I think I could beat. So I could do Tetris Attack would be one I could do. If you count 40 line mode and Tetris DX, that should be easy. What other... Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo would be easy. Wait, how do you get stars on Aaron Ryan? Okay, like that. Kirby Star Stacker would be easy. I don't know how the story mode works in Super Star Stacker. I don't know that I'd be super confident in that, but original Star Stacker I could do quite easily. Even if the best definition for that is to be insane mode. For the most part, I'm going to just be playing normal difficulty on everything. But I don't know if that would necessarily be satisfactory to just do Kirby's Avalanche, or not Avalanche, Star Stacker on normal mode. Because normal mode is actually easy mode. There is... Because, really, Kirby Star Stacker... Alright. Come on. Maybe I could have hit him there, actually. Okay. Dude. Nice. 1 second left. Yeah, normal mode is practically easy mode in Star Stacker. And each... I mean, they're called difficulties, but are they really difficulties? Because they're new levels. You know, it's not like these are the same levels, but they're harder. It's just more of the game. So does that really count to just do normal mode in that? I think in most circumstances, though, just sticking with normal mode and just doing normal mode should be fine. Especially because sometimes in easy mode, they're gonna kind of shorten the game. Ninja 5-0, you only do 3 of the 5 worlds on easy mode, and you have to do normal mode to play the full game. So obviously you would do normal mode in Ninja 5-0, which that's another game that's going to be pretty short to do. But yeah, for the most part, I think normal mode should be fine. I think it would be... Normal mode is fine. As long as I'm still getting the full game, right? Like, if I'm getting only part of the game because I'm playing easy mode, then I think that wouldn't count. But I don't... Okay. But I don't know any games that would lock content behind a hard mode. Maybe there's some like really old games that would do that, but none that I'm really aware of. But then just games that I know are short. Or games that just tend to be short would also work really well. Because like Call of Duty campaigns are always really short. None of those are really... They're not commonly like over 10 hours. They're usually not over 7 hours. 7 hours is a pretty good average for a Call of Duty game, I would say. Call of Duty campaign. And especially the ones that I'm like familiar with, that I know really well, should be no problem. Cold War will be no problem. World at War shouldn't be too bad. Ghost shouldn't be too bad. Modern Warfare, the original, could be a bit tricky because of that one sniping mission that I'm terrible at. Black Ops 1 could be hard. But again, if I'm just doing normal mode, then these shouldn't be too bad. Which, I mean, I don't own this game. I put it on Game Pass. But Gears of War 1 would also be pretty short. That's also like a 7-hour game. I don't know. I think a lot of those, like, early to mid Gen 7 first and third person shooter games tended to be around, like, 7 hours. And so a lot of those would be fairly short to do. Those could be done in one day, which would be a lot of the Call of Duty campaigns. Uncharted 1 and 2, because those are the ones that I've played that I'd be familiar with. I dread playing Uncharted 1 again, because that game sucks. But Gears of War 1, which I also dread playing because I really don't like Gears of War. And then maybe even, like, maybe a Medal of Honor game is really short. Maybe a Battlefield game could be really short. Maybe the other Gears of War games are really short. But it does kind of depend on, you know, how quickly can I figure things out. How much of those are about figuring out what to do and how quickly can I figure out what to do, which is why I would be more hesitant on Uncharted 3 compared to 1 and 2, because I should already know the solutions to everything in Uncharted 1 and 2, the solutions to all the puzzles and everything, or at least it shouldn't take me too long to refigure them out, because I've already done them before, which is why Portal 1's going to be a great game to do, because I've beaten Portal 1 like 3 or 4 times probably, so it wouldn't be too long. And I could do... So I'd probably be able to, even if I don't immediately remember the solution to everything, I should be able to figure out the solution or remember the solution pretty quickly. Whereas like in Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, I don't know... I've never seen the, well, maybe Uncharted 3, because I did watch a Let's Play of it, but I don't know that I would immediately be able to know the solutions to the puzzles. I don't think Uncharted really ever has too difficult puzzles, but still, I don't know that I would really be able, or I'm not aware of how capable I would be. I'd have to get to a point where I don't know what else to do before I would be comfortable doing Uncharted 3. And maybe even I would do something like Gears 2 or a Call of Duty campaign I haven't beaten yet, like Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 or something. Because those aren't going to be puzzles, right? Those are just going to be beat the game, you know. Sometimes there can be confusing things in those games, but they're not trying to be where you have to figure out what to do. And if that's the case, then those probably would end up being shorter if I'm not having to try and play a 7-hour game that I also have to figure out what to do. Those could end up being shorter than a game where I'm going to have to... That is in theory around the same length, but I'm also going to have to figure out puzzles that I may not be able to figure out immediately. That's why I probably won't be doing many point-and-click games. If I do any point-and-click games, it's gonna be Monkey Island 2, and that might be it. I don't think there's gonna be any point-and-click games that I would know well enough to do outside of the first Monkey Island. Or second Monkey Island, rather. Because I played Monkey Island 2 multiple times because I was going for the achievements. I got all the achievements in the Steam version of Monkey Island 2. And one of those achievements is to beat the game in under like 4 hours, I think. So I got that. So I'm more familiar with Monkey Island 2 than I am Monkey Island 1, because I don't think there are achievements in Monkey Island 1. But I actually do prefer Monkey Island 1. I think Monkey Island 1 is the better game. And then Monkey Island 3, I just already know I'm not gonna... This is kind of how I play Mr. Sandman. I just keep doing this until he hits me. Which definitely, this is not the right way to play Mr. Sandman. I mean, if it works, it works. But I also want to make sure I beat him in round 1, preferably. Because so far there's only been, what, one fight that it went to round 2? What fight was that even? Was that Great Tiger? I think it was Great... Yeah, it was Great Tiger. Which I didn't expect Great Tiger to have taken that long. But this one also might go... no, I could probably do it in round 1. I think really beyond this point... Dang it, I was trying to get him to do the other attack he does in Tidal Defense, but he doesn't do it in... Okay. I'm not as used to Contender Mr. Sandman as I am Tidal Defense. Obviously, when you've played Punch-Out enough, and you're good enough at it to where you know a lot of the fights really well, you don't play Contender mode too much. Because why would you? When you could do the harder, more challenging fights. Oh, okay. I legitimately thought that was going to round 2. I did not think I was going to be able to beat it. But I did kind of know that it was going to be that infinite stun at the end. But, essentially half the game done. There is technically Max Last Stand, but that's not gonna take long at all. Because that's literally just lose 3 fights. I'm not doing anything more on I'm not doing anything more on Max Last Stand than just losing. I don't need to fight Donkey Kong or anything to be able to, you know, beat Punch-Out. You know, that's never been a condition for beating Punch-Out. Because all the games I'm going to do are going to be any percent. I'm not doing 100% because that wouldn't be too many games then. That'd be an interesting version of the challenge, though, to see how many... How many games could you 100%? Because then obviously the games you would choose would be different. I don't know that I would choose Punch-Out Wii as a game to 100% in a year. But yeah. Alright. Gonna let the credits roll. And I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Credits still going? But I don't think you can skip the credits in this game. There's some games where if there are multiple sets of credits, you might be able to skip the credits. Which that's another point that I'm unsure of at this point, is what about games with multiple stories in them? Right? Obviously, a game like Sonic Adventure has multiple stories, right? And you would have to beat all of them because there's the final story that is like the end of the game, you know. But what about something like Freedom Planet, where all the games have their own ending, you know?
Now let's take down the next challenger. Left, right, left, right. That's it, baby. Push it out, Mac. Come on, push it out. Faster, faster. Come on, you can do it. Quick feet, Mac. Quick feet.
But yeah, like
Keep it up, Mac. Keep it up.
because Freedom Planet, there's no final story. Every story goes over the same game essentially. Does that count just to be one story, or would you have to beat all three? Either way, Freedom Planet's going to be a pretty short and easy one to do, I would think. But obviously it's going to be shorter if you only have to do one story. If you had to do all three, then that's, I mean, just about triple the length. Whereas, you know, obviously, like Sonic Adventure 2, you know, gonna have to beat all of the stories. Which I don't think those would be too long, but I don't think I've ever beaten any of the Sonic Adventure games yet, so... Oh, right. I don't know why I was going for 3 stars. I forgot there's the stun lock you can do. Okay. My PC battery's running low. I need to plug that in real quick. Okay. There we go. All right. Nope. Unplug my headphones. Whoops. Where is this? What caught on? It's right here. Okay.
One, two, three. Come on, come on. Fight.
You know, I normally don't do this, and I shouldn't have, but I did. I usually don't try and save a star for the third knockdown. I usually just hit him with the star and then try and get another star, but might actually be better to just save a star and then be able to use it for the third knockdown. Or, unless you do that, but... Okay. Oh, I thought that would have instant knockdown. I mean, maybe he could have, but maybe my timing was off. Yeah, I've never been the best at Glass Joe title defense, honestly. I'm not the best at, like, countering a lot of his moves. That's probably because I don't play Glass Joe that often, to be honest. Because obviously once you get to the point where a lot of the fights are super easy, you're going to want the most challenging fights. And obviously the most challenging fights are Soda Popinski, Bald Bull, Mr. Sandman, and possibly Super Macho Man. So you're going to stick to most of those fights because those are the fights that are going to give you a challenge. Whereas, you know, King Hippo, Glass Joe, Disco Kid, they're not really going to give you much of a challenge. So there's not really a lot of point in doing them a lot, so that makes it to where I don't know them as well. Which doesn't really make them harder necessarily, it just makes it to where I make more mistakes than I would on some of the other fights. But I don't know, I still make mistakes on those later fights as well. But I kind of like am more systematic about it, I guess. I like kind of know a lot of what they're gonna do and when they're gonna do it. Whereas like this fight, I don't know that I didn't know he was gonna do that, you know. Whereas I can kind of tell for some of the later fights. And even when you get to Soda Popinski, who is usually one of the more unpredictable fights, it is sometimes really hard to tell what Soda Popinski is going to do. But there are... He does have a lot of things where you can kind of tell what he's going to do at any time. Like, usually, after a knockdown, or at the start of the fight, he's gonna start with, I don't know the like exact boxing terminology, but he's gonna start where he comes from, where he comes from the right twice. He's gonna do that 2 times, and that's a great place to get stars on him, because if you get stars on him, you can immediately star punch him, and then he's gonna go into his rage, you know, 3 to however many uppercuts he does, and that's extremely easy to dodge. But if you don't, or I think it's just if he doesn't get knocked down, or you don't star punch him after that, he's gonna like do 2 uppercuts in a row, and I think that's pretty consistent. And especially, he's not gonna delay the second uppercut. The second uppercut's gonna be immediately after the first. So, you know, kind of dodge the first uppercut, and then you're gonna have to immediately dodge again. And then I think he's gonna do a third uppercut, but he's gonna delay it a little bit. So I can kind of know things like that. But like Disco Kid, he's gonna come from the... Okay, I predicted that wrong. I thought he was gonna come from the left. But now I think he's gonna come from the left. Yeah, and then he's gonna come from the left again. He's gonna come from the right. Yeah. So like I kind of know Disco Kid, but... And obviously, though, that is just beginning of the fight. I'm not going to say that I can easily predict everything Soda Popinski is going to do. Most of how I know to beat Soda Popinski without it being too much issue is keeping him in a state of being predictable. So since he's predictable at the beginning, and he can get star punches easily at the beginning, then all you have to do is get those 2 star punches, and then star punch him, which is going to keep him predictable, because you know he's going to do the Rage 3 to however many uppercuts. And then I think like first knockdown, he's then going to... He's then going to, I think... He's going to start drinking, which gives you another star. If you star punch him, then... That again keeps him predictable because he's then using his uppercuts again. And then if you knock him down from that, you know as soon as he gets up, he's going to do his uppercuts again, and then he's going to come from the right twice, which lets you get 2 more stars, and then you can star punch him again, he's going to do the uppercuts again, and you kind of just get him into a loop of him just constantly doing those uppercuts. It's really when he starts just unpredictably doing uppercuts, and he starts coming from the far edge on either side, that's where he just becomes so difficult that if it gets that far, I don't know if I would be able to beat him easily. Though, to be fair, if I get to a point where I don't think I'm going to be able to beat Sotopimski, I'm just going to restart. I'm not even going to bother trying to... I'm not even going to bother trying to beat him in a situation that I think is unwinnable. Which is another reason why I tend to beat Sotopimski easily, is because I restart if I'm going to lose. I don't let it get to that point where I think I'm going to lose. That was a lot slower than it should have been. I could see King Hippo going into round 2. Okay. Am I supposed to hit him with the other hand? I definitely think he's going to round 2 if... No, am I hitting him too late? There we go. King Hippo's also one that I'm not, like, super familiar with. I, like, kind of know how to get stars on him, but I actually don't know well enough to consistently do it. But yeah, this is definitely going to round 2, because I was just so slow at the beginning. Dang, I was so slow. And I'm still so slow. I'm usually not... I'm not usually not this slow at King Hippo. Yeah, I guess there's really no point in, even if his mouth isn't open, trying to hit him, because then he's just gonna do another attack. If he blocks it, he's just gonna do another attack that is gonna be easy to dodge. Okay, I don't know why I'm accidentally... I'm mishitting... I'm meaning to hit up, and I accidentally keep hitting left. And that's been... messing up a couple of these hits. I keep getting hit for... in places I shouldn't be getting hit. Or when I mean to hit down sometimes as well. Alright, 2 rounds. I think that's the second person that's gone 2 rounds. It was Great Tiger Contender and King Hippo title defense so far. I don't know actually how Piston Hondo is going to go. I do remember there was like a pretty long period of time where I actually really struggled on Piston Hondo title defense. Even when I was getting better at some of the later fights, I just always struggled with title defense Piston Hondo. I don't think it should be too bad now. It's just I don't know if I'm really... if I know that well how to deal with the Hondo rush. Yeah, getting close to the hour mark. I didn't start exactly as soon as I started stream, but timer was also late as well, so it's been maybe 50 minutes around there. But yeah, there's definitely if I don't know. I didn't want to start with like just super short games, so where I'm constantly switching games all the time. But there definitely could be a day where I just go through a bunch of just super short games. I was getting to that point where I should probably think about what game is next. I'm not going to be done streaming just after this game, because obviously the more games I can do in one day, the better. Because goal right now is going to be 100. 100 games in 100 games in 1 year is going to be the goal. I think I can surpass that pretty quickly. Or not quickly, easily, is what I meant. But, I don't know. The original idea for this was to have a goal. But, I don't know. There's two things I want to avoid with this. And that's one, I don't want to set a goal and then not be able to reach it, right? Because then, at that point, it's like, I just wasted a whole year. I wasted a whole year trying to complete this goal, and that didn't work. And then if I want to hit that goal again, if I want to try again, that's a whole another year, you know? And who knows when I would ever want to do it again. But then I also don't want to set a goal and reach it well before the year is up. And then just stop before... Or seemingly stop before the challenge is over. You know, technically, if it's a goal thing, not time, then the challenge is over when the goal is hit. But it would feel like it's ending early, you know? And then at that point, if I had set a goal, if I had said, you know, instead of how many games can I beat in a year, if it was, can I beat 100 games in a year? If I hit 100 games before the year was up, I would have just... If I beat 100 games before the year was up, I would have just extended the goal anyway. And just went the whole year, so... Come on. Ah, one stun away from not going into round 2. Yeah, definitely soft goal for right now is to try and at least beat one game every day. Which I think I can do. Because there are a lot of short games I know. Or there are games that could have been long, but because I know well how to beat them, aren't going to be long. I actually think for this Piston Hondo fight, it was the Hondo rush that was getting me before when I struggled a lot with this fight. It was the Hondo rush. It was both not being able to counter it and not being able to block it when I needed to. But I think now I'm not struggling as much with the Hondo rush. Because there's like an audio cue you can use. Like as soon as he stops saying his quote, then you can kind of hit him. And it's actually pretty easy. Yeah, and it's kind of visual as well. I mean, obviously, these uppercuts, I'm still not that great at dodging. But it's like, unlike with the bull charge, which at least I don't know a good visual or audio cue for, the Honda Rush has a pretty easy sound cue plus visual cue to know really when to hit him. And because the Honda Rush, at least that fast one he does a lot in title defense, it's consistent on the timing of when you hit him, unlike the bull charge, which I don't know if it's always random or if it depends on like what happened before in the fight to determine when he's going to actually attack. But essentially, in my case, since I don't know if there's a tell for it, it's essentially random. And that's why I still struggle with the bull charge, but I don't struggle as much with the Honda Rush as much. But yeah, it's that downward strike Bear Hugger does that's gonna get me. Plus, I think it's harder to do his attack from the right. Okay, actually dang it. Yeah, it's gotta be different. But when Bear Hugger when he delays his downward strike, I actually find that to be a lot easier to counter than when he doesn't delay it. But yeah, Bear Hugger is really the only fight that I think actually could come down to decision. Because something like this is going to happen where I'm so low on health. I don't want to risk countering anymore to go down. So then I'm going to just play out the really slow version of the fight, and I'm probably going to cash out a 1 star instead of going to multiple. But yeah, when he delays the attacks, I actually find those a lot easier to get stars off of than when he doesn't. Alright, but that's going to be pretty good. 2 stars going into round 2. So getting that first knockdown that quickly into round 2 is going to be really good. It probably will still go into round 3, but that's at least good. Yeah, so what makes Bear Hugger delaying his attacks a lot easier to get stars on than him not delaying attacks on is because there's very easy audio cues to actually do it. Like when he comes from the side, he kind of has 2 parts of the quote. Oh. You know, it goes, ah, ha. And it's like right before he says that second part. Then you can hit him. So it's pretty easy. So really, for Bear Hugger title defense, I would say the easiest thing to do would be play it safe until he starts delaying those moves and faking out bear hugs. Because those are the easier times to get stars. But Great Tiger title defense is another one that I could get really easily, but I could struggle with. It depends on if I get the instant knockout. Because instant knockout is fairly easy, but it can be a little tricky as well. And I have to remember how to do it as well. I think I know how to do it, but It's been a while because again, I don't grind out Great Tiger like I do Zeta Popinski. Because to me personally, once you start knowing the fights and understanding them well, then it becomes the harder the fight, the more fun it is, essentially. Because it's still a challenge, whereas a lot of the other fights aren't. Okay, here we go. Okay. Never mind, it was really easy. I always do that with Great Tiger. I always think the instant knockout is going to be way harder than it is, and it's always easy. Especially because you only need 1 star. If you needed 3 stars, I'd have no idea how to do it. I don't know how to get stars on Great Tiger, other than that first star you can get, because, I mean, I'm not going to fight him normally if I can do the instant knockout. So I don't know how to get stars on Great Tiger other than that first one, but I always trick myself into thinking it's harder than it is. But yeah, Don Flamenco though, I don't know if Don Flamenco title defense has an instant knockout, but he should still be easy because he still has a stun lock like Contender does. Yeah, then no way Baron Ryan, who shouldn't be too bad. So Pinsky and Bubble kind of depend. And then Super Macho Man and Mr. Sandman I don't think should be too bad. Come on. Probably shouldn't have tried to get so many stars, because I can just unlock him and it'll be fine. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have even star punched him there, but whatever.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright. Minute 20 for 1 more knockdown shouldn't be too bad. It depends on when I knock off his toupee and how soon I can recuperate from that. I'm not the best at... Actually, just like 2-star punch him. Like, hold on to that for too long. I shouldn't have been going for the stars. I should have just stunned him. And of course, toupee comes off right now. That's not like it. Actually, that if you weren't super familiar with Don Flamenco's fight, that would be the best time to knock off his toupees when he only has 1 attack left, because I think he goes back to just normal fighting after you knock him down or if the round ends. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. But I mean, you can still stun him, and it's honestly easier to stun lock him after his toupee is knocked off, because you don't have to worry about stunning him first.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, hour mark has passed.
6.
I knew this was going to take more than an hour to do, but Okay. Well, that time it stunned him. And stunning him is just awkward to me. Because I don't know if it's the last punch in the stun that counts towards the stun lock. You know, do I have to... If I hit him in the face as the last punch in the stun, do I then have to hit him in the face twice? Or do I just do it once, then stomach, and then keep going like that? But I think the last punch in the stun is counting. So you would hit him in the face as the last punch in the stun, and then hit again, and then stomach, and then keep going like that. Alright.
Hey, great work, Mac. Now let's take down the next challenger.
Final 5.
Work 'em. Hit it, kid. Hit it.
Which I don't think any of these should be a problem. The only...
Faster, faster. Come on, you can do it.
I think I'm pretty safe with Super Macho Man and Mr. Sandman not going into round 2, but Aaron Ryan, maybe, and depending on how Soda Popinski and Bald Bull go, maybe. But again, if I get to a point where I feel like I just can't beat Soda Popinski, I'm gonna reset. But I can, if things go well early on in Soda Popinski, I can go into round 2 confident that I can beat him. But I'd prefer to beat him in round 1, because not only is that just faster, and obviously I want to beat these games really fast, because the faster I beat them, the faster I get on to other games. So the faster I can beat any of these fights, the better. But I don't know if there's... I don't know if the same way to get stars from normal Aaron Ryan, if those really apply to title defense. Or if there are other easy ways to get stars on title defense Aaron Ryan. I don't think I know. Which is why I think Aaron Ryan could go into round 2. I also don't really get his new special move for this, where he takes out the punching bag on the rope, because that move it's just so easy to dodge. I get he does an extra attack after he's knocked down that can damage you, but once you know that it's just dodge left or right if you hit him in the stomach, duck if you hit him in the face, then it's not too hard. But honestly, I think his headbutt is a much harder move to dodge, which he did not do the headbutt at all in this fight, so that was good. Yeah, Aaron Ryan was actually no problem at all. Alright. Now it's time to see how easily can I actually do Soda Popinski. Can I do him easily at all, or is it gonna get to that point? Where I feel like I either need to restart or I'm just unsure if I'll be able to beat him. But in theory, it depends on if I mess up, but in theory, Soda Popinski's pretty easy, because you just get a 2-star punch right at the start, and then you star punch him. Then he's going to do this move, which is very easy to dodge. Very predictable as to what he's going to do. And you just keep hitting him. He's going to try and drink. Then you star punch him again, which knocks him down. And that's the first knockdown, which is really easy. Because he didn't do anything unpredictable there. I knew everything he was going to do. And I know what he's going to do here. And he's going to do 2 more of these moves. Which, okay. This is where I am unsure, because I screwed it up. I was supposed to get 2 more... I was supposed to get 2 more star punches on him. Yeah, see, this is where, like, I have no idea what he's doing. I think I need to restart. It's screwing up those 2 star punches that just... I just couldn't do it anymore. So yeah, that's when Soda Popinski gets hard. When I screw up the easy way to do it, then it's really difficult. But it's not even impossible if you only get 1 star from those 2. As long as you don't lose the star, obviously. I just think he doesn't immediately start drinking if you only get 1 star punch. I think he then comes from the right a couple times. Again, you can just get more star punches off of that. Alright. I got into a situation again where I don't know what he's gonna do. Because I let him hit me the first time in that chain. I don't know why I thought he was just gonna skip that part and he was gonna start coming from the right again. Okay. But at least I've knocked him down again, so he should... at least the first move he do will be predictable. And then he might keep predictable long enough. Okay. I usually don't struggle with Soda Popinski so much. Though, honestly, why I'm struggling so much with Soda Popinski right now is legitimately probably because I said I wasn't going to struggle with him. That's pretty much the only reason. Hopefully Bald Bull goes well. Bald Bull, I legitimately think is an easier fight than Soda Popinski. Because the problem with Bald Bull, especially for players who are new to the game and don't know very well, is getting stars. You have to knock him down with a star punch or else he doesn't go down. And if you don't know how to get stars on Bald Bull, then he's really difficult because you're not ever really getting stars on him. But in my opinion, what makes... oh, you have to get... I need to maybe start only getting 1 star at the beginning, because I think he's more predictable that way. But yeah, so the problem with Bald Bull is that if you don't know how to get stars, then he's extremely difficult. What, in my opinion, makes Bald Bull an easier fight than Soda Popinski is that Bald Bull's a lot more predictable. Once you know how to get stars on him, then you're able to get stars. The problem with Bald Bull isn't really dodging his attacks like Soda Popinski is, it's getting stars. But when you know how to get stars, and you can get stars semi-consistently enough to where you can knock him down consistently, then Bald Bull's not as big of an issue. I mean, the Bull Charge can still be a problem, but he's at least not... His moves aren't as hard to dodge as Soda Popinski's is. So if I start messing up on Bald Bull, and it's going into like round 2 or 3, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to have to restart. I think I can just keep going through Bald Bull, because I think his moves are a lot easier to dodge than Soda Popinski's is. And then Super Macho Man, compared to Soda Popinski Bald Bull, that's not even a competition. Obviously, Super Macho Man is just like way easier than Soda Popinski and Bald Bull. And even Mr. Sandman is a harder fight than Soda Popinski. So Mr. Sandman, or Super Macho Man, is obviously a real easy fight. I screwed that up so bad. But Mr. Sandman is an interesting one, I think, because I used to actually think Mr. Sandman was the hardest fight in the game. And this wasn't just when I first played the game, because obviously I think anyone who first plays the game is going to think that, well, other than Bald Bull, of course, they're probably going to think Mr. Sandman's the hardest fight, because Mr. Sandman's the last challenge, and every fight is difficult, at least in title defense, when you first fight them, because you're not familiar with them. You have to learn the fights, so all of them are pretty easy. And this is why I went ahead and used the 3-star punch, because I was pretty sure he was going to do this soon, and I just am so bad at countering the Bull Charge. But even in Super Punch Out, where it's like a lot easier, I can't do it that well. But I honestly do think Mr. Sandman, in a way, okay, I didn't know if that actually worked. I thought he would dodge, but if that works, then that's just what I'm gonna do. But and Mr. Sandman, I thought was the hardest fight, because I don't know. I guess it was two things. One, again, I find Bald Bull not too difficult when you know how to get stars on him, because that's the challenge removed. The challenge is getting stars. But when you can do that well, then the challenge isn't there. Whereas Soda Popinski, Soda Popinski wouldn't be too hard if you, like, legitimately memorized just everything that he's going to do in every context, right? If you know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly what he's going to do in response to that, then he would be as easy as Bald Bull as well. That's just how this game works, is whatever fight you're doing, the more you know the fight, the better you know the fight, the easier it is. And I would say Soda Popinski's the hardest fight, because Soda Popinski is the hardest fight to learn. But I used to think Mr. Sandman was harder, because I found Mr. Sandman very hard to predict, like with Soda Popinski. And I struggled a lot with Mr. Sandman, especially because I think Mr. Sandman's attacks are more damaging than Soda Popinski's. So you can, if you're getting comboed by Mr. Sandman, you're going down a lot quicker than you would be on Soda Popinski. That may not be true, but that's at least how I perceived it at the time when I first played this game. But now I think Mr. Sandman's easier because, for one, I think Mr. Sandman actually is more predictable than Soda Popinski. So So he's not as hard as I used to think he was, because I do think he is more predictable. But I also think what makes Mr. Sandman easier than sort of Popinski at this point is there are so many ways you can get stars on Mr. Sandman. You can get stars in so many different ways that aren't really that hard to do. So you can just keep getting stars and beat him super quickly. Or sort of Popinski rather. When it got to the point where I was unsure what he was gonna do, there's only that one move that I really know gives you a star on sort of Popinski. Whereas Mr. Sandman, even if I lose all my stars, I know that just about everything he can do has a chance of giving me a star. So I just have to keep trying to counter until he gives me enough stars. Did I have a star and didn't use it? This is another fight that I actually have a hard time doing quickly. I usually don't struggle on Super Macho Man too much, but I actually usually do. It does end up going into round 2. Especially if he's going to do long moves like this. Okay, well, I did do it in round 1. Yeah, Mr. Sandman shouldn't be too hard because there's just so many ways to get stars that even when he's going into the really hard way after, when he gets into his rage after the second knockdown, then it still isn't too hard because you can just easily get stars. All you need is 2 stars to knock him down at that point. So you just, you don't even have to really know what eye he's going to wink. Because you just, if you got it wrong, he's just going to do the next one. So you just get 2 stars, you star punch him, and that's it. Fight over. And plus, when he does the Dreamland Express, if you try and hit him, he's going to do another attack that's really easy to dodge. And then that's some more free hits on him. Alright, I'm just going to cash out there. So he's going to do that attack, and that's some free hits on him. And then he does this, which is super predictable, and then you just get more hits on him. So yeah, really what my problem was with Mr. Sandman initially, why I thought he was the hardest fight in the game, is because I didn't know what he was going to do. I couldn't predict what he was going to do, but now that I can, he's not that hard at all. It's like I don't even have to think while fighting Mr. Sandman. I just do it. Whereas, like, sort of Popinski, if it gets past that point where, like, I feel like I can catch up on Mr. Sandman. If I start messing up, I can catch up and get back into the groove. Whereas sort of Popinski, I just can't do. And even Balboa, I think I can get back into the groove if I mess up on him. But yeah, that is still not Punch-Out complete just yet. Because there still is Max Last Stand. I guess technically I don't have to watch the credits, but I probably will take a little break after this. And then, because I gotta decide what game am I doing next. But I'm gonna keep streaming.
3 losses and you call it quits?
But I don't know what. Because obviously I'd want to probably do a Wii or GameCube game because my Wii's already set up, so I don't want to have to set up another console. But what Wii and GameCube games do I have that are short enough to do? Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought there would be more if the remote get to the sensor bar. That'd be good. Let's see, because I do got some short Wii and GameCube games. Honestly, Glass Joe is not the best person to get if my goal is to lose. The best people to get, I would think, would just be like Mr. Sandman, Soda Popinski, Bubble, Bear Hugger, probably. You know, just enemies that attack fast and can knock you down easily. Though I forgot, I don't have to get knocked down 3 times. I don't have to get knocked down once. But yeah, because like in Mario Sunshine should be pretty short and easy, but I don't know exactly how quickly I'd be able to do it. There's some missions that can be annoying in Sunshine, and I haven't played Sunshine recently enough to know that I would be able to do everything first try, essentially. King of the Kangaroo 2 is... I remember that being a really short game. I don't know how short it is, though. Crash Nitro Kart would be really short. Mario Party 8 is really short. That game has a story mode, so... You know, some games I'm not... If they don't have story modes, I'm not sure what would count. Like, for a Mario Kart, do you just beat every... Oh, Donkey Kong's actually also not a good one. Oh, wait, maybe he is, if I just keep... Okay, he actually is a really good one to get, because he does attack pretty quickly if you try and hit him. I still think, like, a Soda Popinski or Mr. Sandman would be better. But, so, like, I don't know what would really count for a Mario Kart, but Mario Party 8 has a story mode, so that would just be easy to do. That'd be very quick. And then, what other Wii/GameCube games do I have? Rayman 3 could be short, but that could be longer as well. Pac-Man Fever technically has a story mode, but that legitimately takes like 8 hours to do, so I'm not quite ready to try and do Pac-Man Fever. Pac-Man World 2? I mean, that's going to be really short. Alright, so nice. I also might try and do Pac-Man World 2. That's going to be just incredibly short. But yeah, yeah, that's Punch Out. Punch Out we done. First day of seeing how many games I can beat in a year. And that's already one game done. Only took about an hour and a half.
Good job, son. Good job.
But yeah, okay. Do I not have global hotkeys enabled on LiveSplit? That's got to be what the problem is. I'm gonna see if I can enable that real quick. Yeah, Global Hotkeys is enabled. There we go. Now it should work. Okay. I'm going to take a little break and try and decide what game I want to do next. It will probably be Pac-Man 1 2, but it could be something else as well.